I wonder if he's gonna face any repercussions at the offline finals for that manner hatch, because that was a bit uncalled for. Let's be honest.
It was. I mean, there's sportsmanship. I mean, if they're friends and they're
Yeah,
friendly, it's okay. But it's kind of a little BM. But it depends. It depends what kind of person it is. Because if it's someone known for BM, then it's an awful thing. But if they're known as being someone who just like kind of goofs around and is kind of cheeky, then you're like, oh, you.
I
This is
have
a
to.
little bit better. But we'll
I have
see.
to kill him, but he's really young, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, we all did stupid things when we were young, so let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah, we all did. Some of us continue to do so. And
On a regular basis.
yeah. And we question why we do it, but you shouldn't. It just makes you sad. So in the bottom left, as our Pink Protoss losing their first game, it is Fnatic.Harstem, and in the top right with some impressive play and a little bit of BM thrown in, we have DSCL.
Yes. It-based pylon here from Harstem.
Yeah, I was just about to say. So gonna see a gateway expand most likely. Maybe it's because he's kind of anticipating TGS one game up, might want to go for that really fast pull just to kind of go, okay, I can win this really quickly, and it looks like Harstem doesn't want to take that kind of risk.
Yeah, I don't expect Harstem to actually mind the whole thing, but yeah, focusing on the game, we do see the gateway go down, so it's plainly clear to see what Harstem is going to do. I think it's really cool, by the way, that just Daniwa using this build often in one tournament, aka DreamHack, and almost changing at least the tournament metagame. I'm not sure how common this is on ladder these days, but we see a lot of good Protosses at the high level feel really, confident. Grubby now Harstem doing this gateway expand build so early on, after the tournament, it kind of says something, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. Like, just by sheer kind of brute force, like strength of will, he has managed to put this into the game. It's like if there was a player good enough that they could like mech successfully at a very high level against Protoss, eventually, and they just kept at it and kept going and kept going and kept going. Eventually, you might see it thrown into like best of 3 games and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's very rare that you see a build like this conceived by and popularized by almost a single player, especially a non-Korean, because if you look at builds on go-to builds or whatever, they're usually titled by a Korean who came up with it at the first in the first place. So bit of a late GLHF actually. Yeah. Oh yeah. We have to be managed to each other, guys. Let's not forget. Really, I don't think Harstem minds though. He'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it's fine. So,
Yeah, interesting pro placement here. He's got okay. He just had 2 in each assimilator. Now he's just put green and was off for a couple of seconds. So I was thinking like, what? Yeah, still no Nexus here by by Harstem. Of course, he'd probably throw it down after his mothership core around that time when it pops, and there we go. Props goes down to the ramp. I was thinking it might have been a bit late, but timing's actually quite well.
yeah, so there we go. Probe's going to drop that Nexus, and these links are going to come in and just confirm that that is happening as well as the Overlord. So TGS with really good timing there knows like when the Nexus should be going down after a gateway expand.
If we're going to compare 2 players straight up, we noticed that Harstem has a Zealot and a Sentry, whereas Grubby I think made 2 Sentries, and of course a mothership core for both of them, just to sort of ward out these links and try to keep his his Nexus safe. Not in an extreme way like he kind of would with heavy roach builds, but just from the early Zergling pressure.
Yeah, and I mean in low Zergling numbers you can get away with just having sentries, and it is a lot more defensive posturing, but Ling's being very cheeky, just sitting at the front of the base next to the pylon. Going to be backing off now as the mothership core comes to shoot them away.
Yeah, early third here by DSCL. I think it was about the same timing as he did previous game, but I can't say for sure. But let's be honest, that does open up a vulnerability. If he doesn't throw down a Roach Warden within the next minute, that gateway pressure could really hurt.
Yeah, and I mean he's going to come in and scout the 3 gateways, so we've got 4 gateway poke going to come in as warp gate finishes, and well, are we?
Yeah.
He should be moving out with a probe right now, trying to get that pylon down, and no, just a transfer, so I'm not sure he's actually going to do it now that it's been scouted.
Well, he still has a bit of a time frame, even though Warp Gate has finished.
Yeah, here we go. He's pulling all the units.
Wow. Overlord now moving into the main of Harstem sees there's no additional tech except for, of course, the finished up cybernetics score. He should be able to see this, you know. Roach Warren is going to finish, and then DSCL should pump out a whole bunch of roaches, and is actually putting on a lot of circlings on the map for a flank.
Yeah, and he could actually get the flank off here. We was immediately going around looking for that proxy pylon.
Well,
he has found it.
Harstem is hugging the wall though, so getting us around shouldn't be as easily. And DSCL now retreating to his third, and is now starting roach production, but also Zerg melee attacks. So he just wants to hold this off and then continue with his own game plan. And actually the probe gets picked off, standing there on its own in the middle of the map. So there's only one proxy pylon up for Harstem at this point.
Yeah, there is, like, so a small group of Lings going around the back can chop that quickly, but only sentries and zealots here, and with good force fields he should be able to do a bit of damage, but it doesn't look like TDS is well prepared for this.
He's too early at this point. Yeah, okay, that's a nice force field, but it's not really going to change a whole lot. Even more sentries being warped in at this point, and Harstem now throwing down a forge and a robo bay, really indicating to me at least that he doesn't want to, overcommit to a fight here. At this point, he hasn't really lost anything. He's not making probes. He's getting +1, so in that aspect, I guess he's behind economically. But getting sentries in these numbers is kind of an investment, He's got a mothership core, so he can just time warp out if he needs to. But it's still, it's not what he wanted.
No, it definitely isn't. And we're going to poke down, try and pick off a few. He has got that recall if he needs it.
Alright.
Three roaches for a zealot, but these Lings coming around the back are going to be something else he has to deal with.
Yeah, behind this DSCL is actually droning up quite nicely, heading up all the way to 50 drones, somewhat equal with Harstem, who has a few too many probes, I feel, so I expect him to take a third here, and there we go. It's actually going to go down quite quickly, so he is transitioning out of this, not overcommitting, not losing his sentries. I think he's actually doing quite well, even though he's economy might be behind a bit. Interesting moving by Harstem, actually moves into the natural completely unspotted.
Yeah,
oh, he's actually going to head up the ramp.
Into the main, and
are there drones?
Players just like,
yeah, might want a force field.
Some Lings to get in, so this isn't going to be too catastrophic. Gonna try and force cancel on that hatchery, does succeed in it. And what damage can he really do? I mean, it's basically an entire army of sentries and all Lings going around. Doesn't lose a sentry, good force fields, and to be honest, I think he might just get the queen and recall home.
This is so funny. I mean, he does get another good force field up here at the ramp, at least I hope. Yeah, there we go, nice in time. Almost loses one sentry, more nice force fields, and this is just being annoying, He can't warp in, he can't really kill anything except for the units that are gathering at the ramp. Oh, more Lings coming in, is he going to recall? No, he's just going to throw in more force fields, and
does lose his first sentry there, and I'm just waiting for him to recall, because he's not going to kill anything here, but he is just being annoying, and big mistake there, sentries are starting to die now.
Oh, he loses actually quite a lot of sentries at this point, so if you look at the resources lost, we see he did lose, well, only 8 units, but it could have been better, let's speak so, but I think his task was accomplished, because doing this pressure has kept him completely safe from any aggression from DSCL. So his third is up and running now. He's got 2 cannons there, might throw down a couple of gateways. And it's also stifled the macro of the Zerg, because he's floating quite a bit of money.
And you are seeing DSCL going back into his original plan, which was going to be Ling and Muta, because he was getting nice melee upgrades for his Lings. Spire was scouted though, so Blink is almost done, so he should be feeling okay. Would like to see him start thinking about throwing down Templar tech though. Yeah,
+2 tackle is also on the way, and he's actually transitioning into Colossus play. He should. I didn't check Harstem's vision, but he had an observer at the third by the Muta spot. So he should be able to spot this, but he needs to go really heavy on the stalker count if he wants to hold this off. And he's actually now he throws down the double star.
Yeah, opting not to go for Templar tech, instead trying to outproduce him with Phoenixes, and Blink's almost done, but
Photon overcharge immediately deployed on the main nexus. Actually, 2 cannons being added as well. I guess he really didn't want to lose the the Twilight Council.
Yeah, definitely not. And no Mutas died there, so good control from TGS, and he can just contain Harstem now and keep him running back and forth. You're seeing Stalkers at the third and the main. and he's got to sit and wait until he has the Phoenix count that he can really push out and try and deal with these mutas.
Oh, he needs to keep his eye on the third though. Okay, apparently ThisGameSuck just try to pull back and try to be aggressive, and he's going to test Harstem's defense. He's got his whole army in the natural. He's going to try potentially a surround on the natural, on the third I mean. Harstem now has to relocate, and now he has to defend his main, and the Zealot, there was a Zealot there, but did it get taken out?
I'm not sure if he just pulled it back, but a lot of Stalker's getting cut down here, and because he's only dealing with half the army, he's actually killing so much here. I don't think a single Mutalist has gone down yet. There goes another one. And 2 Phoenixes are, they're going to help a lot, but they're just not enough to deal with this counter Mutalist, and he's already done a ridiculous amount of damage.
Yeah, ThisGameSuck definitely getting the better trade here at this point. Not losing as many workers, but still losing quite a few stalkers, which of course is not the most ideal unit to make against Mutalists these days. You really want to have that early Phoenix production. So if he'd thrown down that double Stargate a bit earlier, Harstem would have been in really good position. But I think he's slightly behind at this point because TGM does have 4 bases up.
He does. This is the best part of having Mutalist as a Zerg player. You can keep the Protoss contained, stop him from moving out, and you can go and take more bases, really get into beefy units like Ultralisks and Vipers that are really going to help out your army.
Big Ling run by here at the third. Not being too effective, just attacking this one cannon. A bit of a warp in here by Harstem, who's now forced to split his army because there's Mutalists in the main as well, going down on these cannons. Are they going to snipe and attack? No, they're going to be forced to retreat by the Phoenix Micro here by Harstem. Lynx, all but being cleaned up at the third, so he is holding excellently. But how is this going to escalate,
Yeah, because he can't move out yet. He still has to wait, has to get more Phoenixes, and TGS really playing this quite well. As soon as he sees those Phoenixes, always backing off.
Yeah, I mean the Phoenix count is getting quite nice here for Harstem. Of course, there's still almost 3 times as much Mutalists on the map. Might want to be careful there. Loses 1 Phoenix, losing another one. Even the third gets taken down. Not too bad, not too good there by Harstem, I'm afraid. I think he's gonna have to commit to this era army, and of course he is, because he is getting the range upgrade for his Phoenix as well as +3, weapons for his ground army. But he's in a tough spot, His opponent is expanding all over the map, like literally. It's not a Manor Hatch yet, but it's almost getting there. And he's now going to find the transition into Hive Tech.
Yeah, the Zerg player has taken all of the bases. Infestation Pit has just finished. So, looking to go straight into that Hive, and really, I can't see anything other than Ultras coming out here as that main core unit he wants to deal with these things.
Oh, 30 on, heavily attacked by Mutaling. Phoenix is engaging these Mutas quite well, which limits their potential to do damage, but they do so much damage. So many Mutalists on the field. 25 now, and they're actually tearing most of the Protoss army apart. However, the Link support is now fading as most of them are dying, so I'm not sure if this is too good of a fight to take at TGS.
But he's already done enough damage to the Stalker count. He's got about 8 Stalkers on the field, another 4 or so warping in. Meanwhile, there is a counter-attack in the main. Forcing a drone pull, but he's not going to really get anything else done. I mean, he's not walking in any more Zealots there, because he had to deal with the Mutalist back home. Yeah,
the amount of damage he does here is quite minimal, but it's important to get yourself a bit of a breathing room, and he did manage to scout the additional bases that are going up for the Zerg. However, it seems like TGS's strategy is not to straight up win with these Mutas, but more or less to wear his opponent out if possible. Trying to snipe off Phoenixes while doing a lot of these run-bys here with the Lynx, which are actually heading straight into the main. Oh my god, this is completely huge.
Yeah, really bad time for Harstem to move out. His army's stuck in the middle of the map, and Lynx in his main base. He's choosing to go back home, but...
Oh, he needs to fight with the probes, otherwise his Nexus might get sniped. No, there's actually not a lot of Lynx here, and the Lynx are actually going to try and target down these Zealots. So the amount of economic damage done was actually a lot less than I had expected TGS to do. But still, he's keeping his opponent on the edge. Mutalists now finally taking a lot of damage. These +3 Stalkers are actually really highly effective against the Mutas.
Yeah, these are really strong, and he has got a really good standing army, but the problem is, again, those backstabs, those counterattacks. We're seeing a large amount of Lynx moving out again here. And he is using these Mutalists and Ling run-bys as a transition, so there it is, Ultra Tech coming out here, and that's going to be so hard for him to deal with this mass amount of Stalkers.
Yes, Link's not trying to work their way into the natural again, once again, not going to work. However, the Force at the third, picking up probes and might actually go for the mostly taking out probes, doing a lot of economic damage. More links actually flooding in. TGS really realizing he has a lot of minerals banked up, which he can spend on other things, and he's now finally investing into a severe, tech transition, getting infestors, getting Ultralisk Kevin, getting upgrades, and now we have a big Mutalisk flock here, flying into base, sniping the Nexus.
And here, as the Phoenixes come to deal with them, Lings are running in, big probe transfer to the potential fourth, and he's going to kill it all, and then realise, hey, where are these probes going to mine from? Oh, look, a base here. And
yeah. Harstem now definitely in a tough spot. He's doing his best with these Phoenixes to try to zone out these mutants, but they just keep poking in spots where the Phoenix are not, which is well, I wouldn't say interesting considering the fact that new Phoenixes are faster, but still Harstem is just having a really tough time catching up. He can't control space effectively. The Ling run bys keep catching him off guard. It just seems like something is not right. I'm not sure.
Yeah, if we have to level 1 criticism at the Zoe player, who's playing phenomenally well, he's very low on gas. Now adding on more gas guys, but he's not getting Ling upgrades. He's got Hive, but he doesn't have the adrenal glands. He needs all of these things to really kind of push the advantage. But here we go.
Yeah, it seems almost as if Harstem is somewhat given up on taking this to the for any further in the game, and is now transferring the last pass of probes, and now finally engaging. But the Phoenixes get fungled. All the energy on the infestors, but one has depleted at this point, but it was really, really effective, and Harstem is actually once again forced to retreat, taking significant damage here.
Yeah, and it seems like he just doesn't feel safe, because every time he moves out across on the map, there's Lings running in somewhere else that he just needs to try and deal with if he can, but he just hasn't got a way of doing it.
Yeah, like I mentioned, the amount of space control from the Zerg is just phenomenal. He keeps attacking in places where the Protoss army isn't, and that's just something that you have to do when you play this heavily aggressive Muta-Link style to keep controlling space, and then eventually, like he is now, transition over into this heavy tech army that can simply crush your opponent. And we have a carrier being made here by Harstem.
I'm not sure if he's given up or if this is some really kind of ghostly strat that he's got going on, but I think if he had gone Templar Tech, well, of course hindsight is 2020, but if he had gone Templar Tech, he would have had much easier time dealing with these Lings with Storm.
He's making a single carrier. That's the weird thing. Like, he has 2 Stargates and he could be making more.
Maybe,
okay, now
maybe it's a misclick.
Yeah.
Because he is making a lot of Archons at the moment. I think the merge button is C, if I'm
okay. Correct. I play Grid, so I'm not sure what the default Protoss hotkeys are actually, so I wouldn't know, but it might have been maybe you wanted to build an Oracle so you can use Revelation on the Phoenixes, on the Mutas, so he knows where they are at all times.
Yeah.
He knows now though, because he just ran into his army, and he needs to be aware of these infestors because he gets fungled on the...
Stalker's blinking in and then immediately turn around going, nope, I'm not dealing with that, I'm just blinking back out again.
Oh, Harstem here dancing with that's getting a big really fungal off all of these Phoenix, and the Mutas wasting no time, flying immediately, taking out almost all of these Phoenixes. More fungals here on the Zerg army, and whoa, actually the +3 Stalker is so effective here, taking out a lot of these Mutas.
It looks like he was just using it to get rid of supply, because we've got 8 more Ultralisks coming your way now. He's really spending about 10 more Ultras.
Yeah, it's almost disposable income at this point, and even though the upgrades for the Ultras are not what you want them to be at the 25-minute mark, and Harstem is actually looking to take out this base. I'm not sure what I'm seeing. I mean, TGS is completely maxed. He's just waiting for the rest of his Ultras to finish.
I think the carrier was intentional, because he has got it going. He is building interceptors now, and he's like, look, let's do this. I've got my carrier. It's gonna be fine.
Did you know carriers are actually really good against Ultralisks, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to stop this, because...
I don't think so. 1 carrier versus how many Ultras?
This is 15. How many Ultras this is going to be?
I don't know, but he has enough that he can A-move and never have to worry about losing this fight, and here we go. Engaging... Yeah,
no, he doesn't have any fungals to lock down the army. Phoenix is trying to lift off these infestors to prevent that, but there's just too many Ultras. Even though there's an Immortal, it's still shitting a brick trying to fight this army of Ultras. And even though this trade isn't too cost effective for GTS, he just doesn't care because he's got the bank. While I'm saying that, his fourth is getting chopped to pieces by Zealots.
And I don't know, with Harstem equaling out the base count, possibly taking advantage with this base goes down, he could do it. The upgrades for the Ultralists are pretty bad.
Oh,
he hasn't been upgrading them.
Oh, we might actually lose Stalkers here. We've got more Circlings here running in, going for, no, gonna go for a surround perhaps? Oh wow, this is so close. He's actually gonna go for the 4th, and he has to, because otherwise he will be behind so far economically. Harstem managed to fully clear it out the 4th, the 5th. And yeah, TGS now fully going for this base, and Harstem has to fight here.
Yeah, and I mean, if his immortal count was high, he can deal with this, so he needs to be looking on popping out more immortals, because his upgrades are good. He just needs to wait to deal with his rogue ultras, and the amount of links here is not good for these wing stalkers. Trying to get into a choke point, but they're giving up the 3rd base. They can't fight this.
Yeah, and now Harstem is looking poised to lose his final base as well. Both players having almost no income at this stage of the game, but the army which is remaining here for the Zerg is just so far superior. Corruptors here taking down the carrier, 1 Archon, just not effective enough. And of course he can keep linking back with these Stalkers, but against this heavy link count, I don't think there's a whole lot he can still do.
He can blink back, but eventually he's going to run out of
still
and
there.
yeah, all of his bases are going down. DT's are here now. I'm not sure there's an overseer, so he could do a lot of damage here, but I don't think it's going to be enough. He's going to lose his natural as well.
Carrier fighting Corruptor, and has actually got 5 kills in the middle of the map, but it's just not really gonna matter. These Stalkers now finally looking to get surrounded by these links and then get squashed by the Ultras. DT is doing a phenomenal job here, getting so many kills, trying to kill off as many Ultras, and TGS, because he's got absolutely zero army. I mean, wow, this game, it's
weird. This carrot actually, with its 6 kills, is actually quite useful, given that the income of both players is currently sitting at about 0 for Protoss and 100 for the Zerg. And they're both on 2 base.
Okay, there's now 2 Overseers on the map, as well as a couple of Spores, so I think TGS has what he needs to kill Harstem at this point. But
if he chooses to run up that ramp, it can be really bad for him, because the storms that can just destroy the Lings, and then you've got the Immortals, which the Immortal will help clean up those Ultras.
There's still only 1 Immortal and 40 Ts, and we have the Overseers here, and unless he snipes these Overseers and gets away with a Stalker in some miracle feat, this is going to be a tough fight for Harstem, that's for sure.
It is. We've got drones long distance mining from the old 4th base. We've got Ultralists coming up to scout if there's any hidden expansions taken, and I think the Zerg can't push into a choke, because those Lings are going to die, and then the Ultralists are going to be in trouble, because you've got Blinkstalkers and an Immortal and DTs versus them.
There's actually 1 Phoenix, but it's kind of useless against, 16 Corruptors, and yeah, that pilot is not having a good time.
Well,
Mayday.
Keep in mind, it does have 7 range and it is faster, so with correct micro, he could kill all of the Corruptors.
Yes, technically.
But that would be some amazing feat out of Harstem that I don't think we're going to see, so that Phoenix actually going down.
At this stage of the game, the Zerg is heavily out-macroing the Protoss by a factor of almost 3 to 1, because he has so much more drones to long-distance mine with. Just wanted to point that out. Losing actually Corruptors.
Yeah, double the income. Losing Corruptors to these Stalkers, but these Stalkers going to get caught, he needs to run. Oh,
wow, this game.
A weird game, man. Oh,
whoa, that's the fungal.
Good
so
fungal
close
dodge.
there. I mean, he had a second one there to follow up, so if that fungal had hit, he would have been GG right there.
Yeah.
Well, Harstem actually not minding with a lot of his probes, not sure why. And yeah, TGS getting his money back together and might actually make another hatch soon.
Yeah, and I don't know, because he could just make infestors, and then with the lockdown on them, he can brute force his way to the win, but it looks like the hatchery. And then once he has normal mining, then he might think about remaking some more army, but this is scary for Harstem. He's really got to engage in a choke. He shouldn't be sitting here in the middle of the map.
Oh, Storm completely whiffs for no apparent reason, and I'm really having a hard time envisioning Harstem winning this game, because just Stalkers is just not going to cut it against his army. One of the DTs gets taken out. Maybe if he takes out one infestor, that's really good. But what we just saw was that TGS is purposely making changelings, so his overseers don't have too much energy, so they can't be one-shot by the tempo with feedback.
Yeah, and this is a good trick.
We're at right now.
It's a good trick from Zerg players. You see it at the high end. And it's really crucial, especially if you're up against DTs, because lack of detection can really punish you.
Yeah, I mean he's playing so careful, and the same kind of goes for Harstem. Even though he can't really afford to take a fight if he wants to. He has to stay on the defensive and rely on his storms in order to hold this off when the fight does come. But the longer this game goes on, the base is now finished here for TGS. The longer it goes on, the more advantageous it's going to be for the Zerg.
It is, and the worst part is Harstem can't really expand. The big thing that keeping him alive is these chokes at the ramps. As soon as he expands to the low ground, the Zerg can push in and kill this army, or at least get the third to cancel again. So it looks like what he's going to do now. And I can't see Harstem being able to hold this expansion.
Yeah, he must not be too happy at this point in the game. He could try some more harass because his DTs are literally just kind of sitting there with the rest of his army trying to look cool, but it's kind of hard to look cool if you're invisible.
Yeah, and oh god.
He's moving out actually.
Yeah, he's moving out. And
Fungal hit.
Good fungal.
Nice attack. Actually took out one. Oh, he hit one of the overseers, but he didn't kill it. And now he has decent storm, but not killing anything really. And like I mentioned, he could use his DT to maybe sneak up on these drones and do some damage. But it's a war of attrition, and TGS is winning it.
Yeah, he really is. Those DTs, because of the overseers with the army, you said it correctly. He needs to be going and trying to snipe these expansions to try and get himself back in this, because he had that expansion down first, which meant his mining just doubled in income. That meant he could throw a second base down faster, so his mining increases even more. And it's just going to snowball out of control here. And like you said, I can't see Harstem winning this.
Yeah, no, never mind. That's something in mind. But we keep seeing the Zerg making these changelings to keep the energy on his overseas purposefully low. And the question is really, when is he just going to move in? Because at some point, I think Zerg is going to, start to get impatient and just think like, I'm just gonna kill you. Just gonna move you to your third, surround your stalker, and maybe dodge the storms a bit. Another storm gonna hit.
Yeah, but now the Zerglings just got a big fungal there, and I mean he's locked on this ramp now, and there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, this Ultra is actually taking a lot of damage, but the Stalkers are now focus fighting the Overseers rather than the Ultralisks, and that just kind of seals the deal. I mean, he has two Immortals, which can actually do a lot of damage provided you can micro them appropriately, and as you can see, the Ultra is actually dying quite quickly to them. Holy crap!
Yeah, Ultra's died really close to them. The Lings coming in are just going to clean all of this up. His third has no chance of surviving.
There's no Overseer. He actually sniped all of the Overseers, so the DT here can do whatever it wants, but the third is going to get sniped once again. And
there are no probes left, and Harstem has 66 minerals. He can afford one more probe, and to be honest, this game is over because of the income of the Zerg. He can just keep remaking stuff forever, but hard to rebuild your economy based on one probe long distance mining.
Yeah, I agree. At least if you're Terran, you can still drop mules, but it's not really an option in this matchup, I'm afraid.
No, I'm afraid not. And there we go. Congrats from Harstem, and TGS beating Harstem 2-0 and actually going to secure himself a place at the LAN final.